Good morning. Whoops. Twist it around. Good morning. I want to welcome everybody on this nippy morning to come to our wonderful meeting this morning. Now that it's chilly and we're not outdoors so much, we look to doing things in New York. We watch what's going on our newspapers and New York area magazines, and we're not aware that right here in our own community, we have a number of very high quality arts programs. And this morning, we're going to share some of them with you. At your desk, I started to say, at your place, you'll see a number of flyers of some of the activities. And I've been told that what each of you who is responsible for these can do is to take a digital version of this, send it to LMC-TV, and it can be on our website so that people can look at the LMC-TV website and find out more about what's going on in our own community. So I urge you to do that. Before we begin, though, I always give a chance for all the area representatives of organizations to make any announcements that they need to make. Is there any announcement that needs to be made this morning or anyone would like to make? Iris, you want to stand up?
On Sunday the 19th at Ursula. And if you don't know who they are, Sister Beth, the star of the Soul Catchers 25 years ago, or 40 years ago. And these are children from 3 to 10 who learned how to play the piano, the drum, the clarinet, and the guitar. And what's exciting is the people who teach these kids are young kids who major in music in high school. They are their mentors, and they do a beautiful job to watch these little kids learn all the instruments, and they also sing. And so we're having a chorale on Sunday, the 19th at Ursula. And
that program got the Human Rights Award from the AJC 2 years ago. Yes, right. Thank you. Any other? Yes, Janet?
This is the week for the St. John's Bazaar. So today and through midday tomorrow, we take donations, household goods.
Oh, good to know.
Toys, and then the bazaar itself is on Saturday from 10 to 2. There's lots of people shopping. There's some beautiful gifts as well as this kind of stuff and a delicious lunch. So please come and Fountain Square in Larchmont.
it benefits all local charities.
Yes. The proceeds go to organizations that benefit primarily women and children in the area.
Thank you. Yes. Malcolm?
If you go shopping this weekend at either Stop and Shop or the Chico's, you're going to be greeted by representatives, volunteers from the Larchmont Mamaroneck Undercast and Forest Food Pantry. This is our one annual food drive, and people will be receiving, shoppers will be receiving flyers encouraging them to buy food to donate to the food pantry.
Great.
So plan your shopping accordingly.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Jeff?
LMC-TV this week, Hunger and Homelessness, fits right into the story. Watch it live Thursday night,
What time?
7:30.
Great, thank you.
Call
Great.
in, computer in,
Great.
twit in, whatever.
And what Jeff said just reminds me, Rhinebeck High School has just done a study of housing problems in the village of Mamaroneck. But my announcement is the organization, which is known to many of you as throwing the best parties in the region, is having its gala fundraiser on December 7th. That's the Community Resource Center. And among our many preoccupations is what's going to happen to the over 300 people who got DACA through us. So I hope you can come to the fundraiser.
Thank you. Anything else? Oh, my goodness, yes.
So, in keeping with the music theme, there's a Westchester Amateur Musicians Orchestra. And they're playing Saturday afternoon, 2 p.m. at the YMCA.
Oh, thank you. Great. Okay.
Instruments out of the closet.
Great. Yes, Marlene?
I just want to say, if anyone is in the, hasn't gotten their zero waste little basket yet to put in your kitchen, we're really making a push to have people in the community go to.
Where do we get the baskets?
They're all available at Farmers Market on Saturday mornings or at the town center, but we're very.
The town center? You hear that? Okay.
Zero waste, or at the town yard, probably not at the town center, at the town yard.
How does it work? How does it work?
You actually collect everything. You have almost no garbage when you finish doing zero waste. Everything can go in there. Paper, chicken bones, chicken, everything can go into the zero.
And then what do we do?
I have almost no garbage anymore.
We're bringing it to the farmer's market. I bring it on Saturday. I bring my little carrier or to the
Yeah.
yard, or to the yard, or to
Oh.
the town yard. Talk to Sabrina Finland.
Okay.
It's something we really all should be doing because we throw so much stuff away. And it's very expensive to cart it. This is less expensive.
Thank you. Okay. Yes. Okay.
So Saturday, December 2nd is the St. Thomas Christmas Fair. Which is food and silent auction and everything. Yeah, there's pavilions. And the live auction starts at 1. And the proceeds this year are going to St. Rita's Clinic and Hillside Pantry.
Great. Thank you. Phew. As you see, we have a very active community. Now I will turn the program over to Nina.
Good morning, everyone. The summit decided to put on a program that would introduce to the community the performing arts, musical and theatrical, that we have locally that are of such high quality, and also at the same time we hope that it provides some hopefully wanted publicity to the organizations. We have from the New Rochelle Opera, the artistic director, co-founder, and soprano, Camille Coppola. And Camille, because there was a request for some sample of singing, will start us off with a very brief aria this morning. From the Emelin Theater, lawyer, businessman, and president of the theater, Mark Ettenger will speak. From St. Thomas Episcopal Church, Eric Milnes will speak. He's a conductor, harpsichordist, organist, and pianist. I got them all right. And finally, from the Westchester Chorale, singer, pianist, and president of the organization, Tony Corrado, will speak to us. So I think we're really lucky. These individuals all have really extensive resumes of accomplishments personally and professionally and academically and awards and everything else. But rather than do an introduction that contains all that, I think we're here to let them speak about their organizations, and that's what we want the community to hear about. So first, thank you so much for coming, and I hope you all enjoy. Camille, the mic's yours, if you need it. You're a soprano.
Yes, no, I need it. At my age, we certainly do need microphones. I am Camille Coppola, the executive director, artistic director of the New Rochelle Opera, and co-founder. We're in existence actually 33 years. And yes, we had one of our managers of the opera company once wrote an article in the paper, said, yes, Virginia, New Rochelle has an opera company. For those of you who don't remember that Virginia didn't believe in Santa Claus. Well, some people still don't know we have a New Rochelle Opera after 33 years, and I'm proud to say that we have helped young singers. The mission that we have wanted to do has been proven by having some young singers start with us and go on to the famous opera companies like the Metropolitan Opera and City Opera. Now, I want to thank Nina and the organization for inviting me this morning to talk about New Rochelle. I'll be very brief, but she said to me, would you start off with an aria? Now, just to let you know that when we started New Rochelle Opera, I was the only soprano aria opera singer in the company because we had no money. We are a non-for-profit organization. At the time, I couldn't get any young singers to sing for nothing. So I started off by singing with Pagliacci, Cavalleria, La Boheme, Tosca, and then my final was Madame Butterfly 1987. So what I'm going to sing today is an aria from The Merry Widow, and the reason why I chose it, I never sang the part of The Merry Widow because by the time we were able to produce it, I just was the artistic director. But when she asked me to sing something, I figured because this is the year for New Rochelle Opera's The Merry Widow, briefly to tell you that we have honored one of the most famous of all Merry Widows, Martha Eggert, who passed away last year. We just had a tribute to her last week at the Fountainhead, and we also did our 4th production of The Merry Widow in June. So I'm going to sing Vilja, which is the most popular piece. Now, don't forget, I'm an old lady, a great-grandma, and I'm trying to sing Vilja with no music. And that's why I have the words in front of me. So please, I hope you'll enjoy it. I'm trying my best. And to start off the program. And the part of Velia, actually, the story of the Merry Widow was a woman who was in love with the Count, who they could not get married because he was the Count and she was a poor girl. She marries a millionaire. The millionaire dies and she becomes the Merry Widow. As a result, her poor country needs her to be married to the Count because she's got a lot of money. She's going to save the country. So her idea of doing this is by inviting the people from the embassy to her home. And while she has this big party at her home, they ask her to sing an aria. And it's a story about Velia, the Witch of the Woods. So I'm going to do the best I can. Velia once lived in the forest so green. One day by a hunter the wood nymph was seen. The lad as he looked felt a shock of surprise. Her beauty and her grace quite bedazzled his eyes. He then felt a shock of a surprise, which his heart could not deny. Lovingly, he then began to sigh. Velia, oh Velia, the witch of the wood, would I not die for you, dear, if I could? Velia, oh Velia, you my love and my bride. Sadly and softly he'd sigh, sadly he sigh, That's like it. Thank you. So real briefly, 1987, we were found, and we applied for the grants at that time. By 1988, we applied for grants, and were able to continue putting on fully staged operas. And I'm so happy to meet these wonderful men here at the desk with me, because we all exchanged information on how we got started. Now, I have to say, with the help of the Westchester Arts Council and the city and a few other people who have helped us, we have continued, as I said, for 33 years. We have auditions in New York. We advertise in many of the classical magazines, and a lot of young singers. Just an example, real fast, we're doing the fourth production of La Boheme next June. We perform at the Emelin, I'm sorry. We did do concerts many years at the Emelin. It's the Ursuline School and their wonderful theater behind the high school, 350 wonderful seats, wonderful theater, fully staged with orchestra. And as I was telling a few of the singers, people here who are singers and people who work in the music field, many of our young singers have gone on to sing at the Metropolitan Opera. The mission was to help young singers. So that's why I don't sing anymore. I'm too old anymore. But these young singers have started. We just put an ad in Classical Singer just this week. I have already almost 75 young singers calling up to want to audition for us. They have such a strong will to want to perform, and they don't have any place to start. New Rochelle Opera is their starting ground. So we are very pleased that we are doing this for the community. Plus, many senior citizens can't afford to go to the Met or to the City Opera to hear professional singers, and they thank me. Please continue your work, because we have an opportunity to come locally and see this wonderful art form. So I don't know, what else was there? Something else I was supposed to... Our next performance is next June 21st, 22nd, 23rd, and 24th at the Ursuline Theater, and we will be doing a production of the La Boheme. and with all professional singers and a professional orchestra, fully staged costumes. And we will be doing some concerts in the spring. I didn't bring anything about them because we just started the dating on that. There would be fundraising concerts we usually do at the Fountainhead and other areas. If any of you would like to see any of the programs, I brought one of our biggest operas was Il Trovatore. We did Turandot, and we did Aida. Those were the biggest ones we ever did, but all done with orchestra, and I just said. So I want to thank you. The ticket prices are $35 for regular admittance and $32 for seniors, and children are half price. Anything else, Nina? I'm sorry. No. The tickets you could get online by going online. It's nropera.org, and you could also it's nurochelleopera@aol.com is our email. I'm sorry. If any questions about New Rochelle Opera, you're welcome to ask me. Okay. Wait, Mark.
I am standing. Can you hear? Okay, I'm going to sit, actually. So I'm the president. All right. Then it's going to be hard for me to see my notes. Anyway, I'm Mark Ettenger. I'm president of the Emelin Theater. Many of you know this theater has been in the community for 45 years. We just celebrated our anniversary. I think it was 2 Thursdays ago. We had a great crowd, raised a lot of money. Kelly O'Hara, for those of you who know Broadway, was our performer. Janet's smiling. She liked it. Yeah. We like to think of ourselves, and there's so many great arts organizations in the county and in this community. We like to think of ourselves as a nonprofit, as the premier nonprofit multi-genre theater. We put on roughly 110 shows a year. It's no longer the 25 or 30 shows a year thing of 20, 30 years ago. We're 110 professional shows a year, 25 rentals. Most of the rentals are culturally based that we review before renting the theater to all sorts of organizations, probably represented in this room. We enjoy a modest amount of support. We'd like to have more relationships. We have great support, actually, from several local businesses. Miller Toys is a long-term supporter of our children's programming, which is very vibrant. AJ Benet, you may know the local insurance folks, support us. Obviously, Arts Westchester, and in the last several years, Houlihan Lawrence Larchmont office has been just a terrific support for us. It's hard to get an exact count, but we get roughly 25,000 people through our doors every year. And those are people coming to everything from rock and roll to Broadway singers to, we don't have opera, but we'd like to have opera. We have a great classical program, comedy, less live theater than we used to. It's just harder to mount that affordably. And I said a very vibrant children's program. I'll do the programs first. So in classical, I don't know if anyone here is a classical fan, but we bring music literally direct from Carnegie Hall. I mean, the people you see now at the Emelin on our Sunday afternoons at 4, which we moved, Janet O'Connell, 2 Sundays at 4 so that we could serve our older citizens who can't really it's tougher to get to the city now. So we literally have people who would play at Carnegie Hall on Saturday nights or similar venues, and to make a few $100 come up and do us Sunday afternoon, which is terrific. Our Broadway program, I know some of you come to it, is we benefit a lot from being 35 minutes from Manhattan. We get, as I said, we had Kelly O'Hara on Thursday night, 2 Thursdays ago. We had Rebecca Luker sold out. She was the star of Showboat, Phantom of the Opera, and I'm missing something, but Fun Home. Right. We had Billy Porter, who was from Kinky Boots and Shuffle Again, if I'm remembering right. So we're getting the top Broadway stars. We have a new executive director who has added a tremendous level of expertise to us. In fact, I should have said this. We call ourselves, to try to distinguish a lot of people think the Emelin has evolved over 45 years, and a lot of folks think of it as what it was in the past. In order to sort of educate folks, we call ourselves world class right here, so that people realize that we're bringing very affordable, top quality performance to Mamaroneck, Larchmont, Scarsdale, Harrison, Rye, White Plains, principally. Let's see. I was going through the performers. We have this does not necessarily look like a hard rock and roll group to me, but we have a great rock series, and let's call it popular music. George Winston is our next act. Plays this weekend. But we've had the likes of last year. We had Don McLean. I won't sing this. Maybe you'd like to. Bye Bye Miss American Pie fame. We just signed David Bromberg, Richard Thompson. We've had the lead singer. We had a lot of sort of the icons of the past to us. Our dance series has really taken off. That was a personal project of mine. We had no dance 6-7 years ago. Now we book people like Alvin Ailey, Paul Taylor, David Parsons. We started, this year we have Palabolas. I don't know if anybody knows Palabolas. I think it's February 3rd. Get your tickets right here. We also run a wonderful series, very affordable. I think the tickets are $25 and $30, called Dance Off the Grid, where we do 3 performances over 90 minutes. It was designed to appeal to dance novices like myself. If you come, you'll see performers from someplace like Trisha Brown or Alvin Ailey doing a 20-25 minute performance. Then you'll see something like classical ballet, and then you'll see something like stomp or tap dancing, so that the hope is that you'll really like one of them. You will fake that you like another one and come back, and then the other one's going to be a little bit out there, but you're doing something cool. So that's dance. But it's a really great and very affordable program. Let me talk a little bit about, let's see, what did I miss? Oh, family. We have about 25 family shows a year, and in fact, the surrounding communities like Scarsdale, it's funny, we get all the local communities for children's, and then sort of when the parents are 40-ish and the kids are 9 or 10-ish, we lose Scarsdale to a great degree, and now we're making a real push into the surrounding communities. But we do outreaches. If we have a dance troupe or an amenable Broadway actor, we'll do a master class in schools for the kids, and that's a real push this year. Our executive director, who grew up in Eastchester, now lives in Secaucus, is very interested in educating youth and involving them in the theater, which the board very much supports. I was talking about our audience, and this could be of interest to other organizations who, as I said, we partner with a number of sponsors, we partner with some restaurants, but we have a great reach. We are currently mailing postcards at the rate of about 16,000 every 6 weeks. And those 16,000 are going now to every home in Larchmont Mamaroneck. A third of the homes essentially in Scarsdale, White Plains, New Rochelle, Harrison. I'm sure I'm missing some place, but we have a great reach. We are struggling with like a lot of organizations, with our digital reach. Most of the folks that are involved with us didn't grow up in the digital world, so we are trying to improve our Instagram and tweeting and Facebook, which seems to be the place of this age group increasingly. We advertise in Westchester Magazine, Westchester Family, Journal News. Recently, we've had a lot of success on the Peak, and WFUV has, sure, more coffee. That just reminded me when I said the radio stations, this is a strange thing. We have a bluegrass series, I'm going to go backwards, that has been at the Emelin for 35 years and is actually nationally recognized. Everybody in this room knows what the Tonys is. Tonys are. There's something called the IBMA, which is the bluegrass, the National Bluegrass Tonys, essentially, the organization. This is our 2nd year in a row. This is mind-boggling to me. 2nd year in a row that we've been nominated as Best Event of the Year, and that's national. I mean, we didn't do anything. I mean, I don't know how it happened, but that, if you're interested in bluegrass, it's a great place to get exposed. We have a very active board, Andrea Potash is here today, and Janet DeMacy used to be on the board, and I said we partner with At Home on the Sound, CRC, many of the other local organizations. Our goal is to, and it's tough. I find it maybe the hardest thing is to become, we have a diverse programming outlook, but it's very hard to achieve diversity in this area. I mean, you can think it and talk it. We've tried a variety of things. This gets sound a little gratuitous, but we're running the Sound of Music the Saturday after Thanksgiving, and we'll sell that out. And at the 12 o'clock show, and I'm hoping everybody here will come, we will have Spanish subtitles, and we will be marketing this week to, it's very difficult to figure out how to do this, but we'll be marketing to our Latino Hispanic community in Spanish, explaining to them that this program is available. And I know a lot of our board members will be going to the 12 o'clock show to try to deal with the assimilation issues that we're all feeling. What else was I supposed to talk about? Was that it? Film Club. Thanks, Jeff. We run a very successful film club, which is now sold out. It'll fall off a little bit in the winter months as the snowbirds depart, but it's been running for 12 years. We show on Wednesday nights films that have not been released or may never be released to the general public. Sometimes they're foreign films. Sometimes they are films that are going right to Netflix. That's more recently. What do we just have? We showed LBJ. I was talking to Adrian about it, which is going directly to Netflix, if I remember right. Or one of them is Meyerowitz. We show a lot of independent films that you'll never see unless you go to the city, to the art houses there. And it's been successful, and it's sold out. And we have the curator of that series is a fellow who is the main curator for the Museum of the Moving Image in New York City, in Long Island City. So it's real stuff. Pardon? It's in Queens. Yeah. Capitol Steps, just our comedy, political comedy. I wasn't sure how this would go in this environment. People might just say, I'm sick of it. If I want humor, I can watch Fox or CNN. But we decided to go with Capitol Steps, which is a long-standing political satire group. We are sold out for the 8 o'clock show, but the show I'm going to is the 5 o'clock show, so that I can eat afterwards. And it is already halfway. It is... I gotta look. I think it's January 20th. Let me look.
Yes,
January 20th. I think tickets range, we try to be as affordable as we can. They range from $25 for classical to into the, with a $100 range, which would be a $200 ticket in New York. But most of our tickets are around $42. We really strive to make it affordable for all. We have student discounts. We offer group discounts to other organizations. And it's a very happy, vibrant place. We hope you'll come.
Gonna move this, and I'm gonna sit.
She won't let you sit.
She's gonna let me sit. I brought my aria, but I've changed my agenda. So I warmed up hours ago. That was lovely. It's an honor today to be representing the vibrant, growing worship community, which is St. Thomas Episcopal Church here in Mamaroneck. This year we're celebrating our 200th anniversary as the incorporated parish church in the Diocese of New York. St. Thomas is Mamaroneck's oldest and longest standing church. I'm happy to be attending today along with our rector, the Reverend Carol Gadsden, and our associate rector, Tammy Burks. As director of music there, I'm part of a worship team which is committed to leading our parish into its 3rd century and to assure that our mission continues to be one of inspiration, relevance, accessibility, and outreach in all of its manifestations. When I began at St. Thomas a year and a half ago, I was presented by our rector with a calling and a challenge in 2 parts for the community of Mamaroneck. The first to find ways to make our program more responsive and engaging to a community that in many ways reflects the social fabric of Mamaroneck itself. The parishioners of St. Thomas are representatives of a great variety of spiritual, cultural, and social backgrounds and traditions. Unlike many parishes in our region and across the country, the worshipers at St. Thomas have not self-selected according to a shared, homogeneous heritage, but rather are attracted to a church which has made service to the community and a commitment to social justice in all areas front and center of its mission. It celebrates diversity and inclusiveness as part of the work of sharing God's love and grace. And so in such a community where lifelong Episcopalians share in worship alongside emigres from many other faith traditions, including, as our logo pronounces, seekers, searchers, and doubters, crafting a music program which acknowledges and finds meaning in this wonderful cultural and spiritual diversity has been both a challenge and a source of great joy and inspiration in our parish. My answer to the first challenge has been to employ a rotation of music and worship which honors and draws from, as we like to call it, all the traditions. Instead of a music menu relying primarily on sacred works of, frankly, mainly European dead men of the 19th century, as is found in many similar churches, we have sought to continually cycle a wide variety of musical traditions and modalities. In our regular rotation of repertoire can be found the American gospel traditions, both white and black, contemporary praise, the English chapel and cathedral legacy, West African and Caribbean song, Hispanic music liturgy, German, French, and English Baroque, and Victorian Americana. On the second Sunday of each month, we feature our second Sunday band, which on any recent Sunday morning features music by Curtis Mayfield, Bob Dylan, the Wailing Jennies, Sam Cooke, Patty Griffin, Aretha Franklin, George Harrison, Sweet Honey in the Rock, and Bobby McFerrin. St. Thomas is our name, and celebrating diversity is our game. The second challenge presented to me a year and a half ago was familiar to all active in the work of the church. In what way might we broaden our outreach to the wider community of Mamaroneck and beyond? By accepting, embracing the fact that sharing God's grace and our love with a needful world is our primary calling, we find this challenge the most profound and compelling. Like many worship communities, it's possible that what is happening inside our closed doors on Sunday morning may be enormously inspiring and fulfilling to those of us regularly in attendance, but if, as charged by our gospel, our outreach and mission in the world is our primary calling, how might we extend a message of grace, love, and justice to our neighbors? My answer to this challenge, at least in part, has been to inaugurate a series of concerts at St. Thomas, which seeks to share, to inspire, to comfort, and to challenge. It is not lost on us in the world of the arts that the internet age is having a profound and deeply troubling impact on the state of live performance in our culture. As a professional performer, I'm deeply committed to the art of live performance and feel most strongly that humans sharing the gift of music with and alongside other breathing humans can never be replaced by any electronically delivered media. Similarly, in the area of sacred music, nothing can replace the immediacy of emotional and spiritual nourishment that comes from sharing great works of sacred art live and in the moment. I'm committed to that gesture in my professional activities around the world and here and in Mamaroneck, and so is the parish of St. Thomas. And therefore we have inaugurated the All the Traditions concert series in the desire of sharing a vision of the beauty of heaven here on Old Post Road. Continuing to rejoice in and celebrate in the sharing of our cultural and spiritual diversity, our first 2 seasons have offered a mosaic of musical variety. 17th and 18th century music from colonial New Spain, 18th century music from the English Royal Chapel, 20th century American gospel, 19th century American gospel, traditional lessons and carols, music from the French court of Louis XIV at Versailles, and the music of Bruce Springsteen, Bob Dylan, Joni Mitchell, Sam Cooke, and Aretha Franklin are all represented in our concerts these seasons. Next month on Sunday, December 17th at 4 in the afternoon, we offer what we hope will become an annual tradition here in Mamaroneck at St. Thomas, Handel's oratorio Messiah in its original Dublin Small Performing Forces version, presented with authentic Baroque period instruments, internationally acclaimed vocal soloists, and the St. Thomas Choir. Part of the reason I'm here today is to share the announcement of this event and to seek your guidance and assistance in bringing it to a wider audience. Owing to the munificence of donors within the parish family, we're offering this performance at a significantly reduced admission fee to the broader community, a gesture of outreach, generosity, and sharing. It's in this spirit that we intend to continue to make offering to the community of Mamaroneck, musically and otherwise, as St. Thomas ventures into its 3rd century of service. Welcome, healing, helping hands, comfort, solace, joy, and community. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you. Were there any questions? At the end. This is not the end.
When are those concerts? I think 4 o'clock?
All Sundays at 4 p.m.
I think I will stand up if you don't mind. I know LMC-TV will be happy about that. Is this cord long enough? Can you guys all hear me? Can you guys all hear me? I can project, yeah. So thank you very much to Nina and the Summit for inviting me to speak. I really appreciate it. It's great to be here with this august panel. And with all of you, thanks for coming out on this cold morning, a very early morning, to talk about the arts in our community. I'm Tony Corrado. I'm a longtime resident of Larchmont, 23 years. And for the past 7 of those years, I've been president of the Westchester Chorale. The Chorale, in turn, is one of the oldest, if not the oldest, auditioned avocational chorus in the county. We started in 1965 at Mercy College in Dobbs Ferry, moved to Greenville Community Church in Scarsdale, and now we've completed our migration across the county and are the official chorus in residence at the Larchmont Avenue Church. So we really, really thank the Reverend Bill Crawford and the board and the session of LAC for inviting us into their home and making it our choral home. We are simply, our mission is to bring the best in choral music to the Westchester community. We have a crowded field. There are over 40 choruses in Westchester, believe it or not. Ranging from the Westchester Choral Society, which is out of White Plains, to us here, many, the Sound Shore Chorale, and so on. We think, unique in that we are auditioned, and we are blessed to have an amazing music director in Douglas Costner, who is a graduate of the Manhattan School of Music, a veteran of Broadway an amazing organist. He's an associate of the American Guild of Organists and a fantastic choral conductor. Over the years, we have, I don't know if you're familiar with Peter Schickele of Schickele Mix and PDQ Bach fame, but he was a very, very serious musician in his own right. And in his show, Peter, the Schickele Mix, he said, my philosophy is if music sounds good, it is good. And I can see that Eric shares that same philosophy with the breadth and depth of different composers that he has presented. So in the past, we have done Carol Barnett, not Carol Burnett, Carol Barnett's Bluegrass Mass. We have done Romancero Gitano with Spanish songs set to accompaniment of guitar. So we really believe in embracing many musical traditions and not presenting Me Too top 40 choruses like, although we have done them. We have done the Brahms Requiem and the Fauré Requiem, the Mozart Requiem, all requiems all the time. But we don't want to have our program be just that. So we embrace a truly diverse body of music and want to present that to the community of Westchester. So that said, we are 35, we range anywhere from 35 to 45 members. We're auditioned. Mady Edelstein is our membership director, so if any of you would like to sing, please give your email address to Mady, and she will arrange for you to come in and have an audition with our music director, Douglas Costner. We are performing this wonderful program of Benjamin Britten Ceremony of Carols, Randall Thompson's Alleluia, and Psalm 23 setting on December 10th. And here we have this very unprofessionally produced flyer that describes that, but that's Sunday, December 10th at 4 p.m. So please join us for that. Ticket prices are $25 for general admission. We are reinstituting a student discount of $10, and kids 12 and under, when accompanied by an adult, are free. So come and join us for that. Also, come and join us on the same weekend for an all Messiah weekend. If you want to go to see the Messiah at the St. Thomas on Sunday, December 17th, come for a sing of the Messiah on Saturday, December 16th. So you can warm up for that on the 17th by coming and sing with us on the 16th. And that's also $25. And that has been very popular over the years, because who doesn't want to sing Messiah around the holidays, right? We all do. We all want to belt out the Hallelujah chorus. Come on, I know you do. Just don't hide that. We are also pleased to showcase amazing, talented musicians and accompanists. We have Grace Cloutier, who is an amazing harpist, who's a huge friend of the chorales, and we try to get her to play with us at least once a year. You can check her out on the web, gracecloutier.com. She has performed all over the world and is a true master. She's marvelous. She will be there on December 10th, so come just to hear the harp. She is just amazing. We also are a partner of the Westchester Children's Chorus under the direction of Amanda Gundling at the Mamaroneck High School. So they will also be performing with us. They'll be performing parts of the Benjamin Britten Ceremony of Carols, and we'll also be doing another Thompson piece. So that is going to be a marvelous concert. We're also doing another concert. We generally do 2 concerts a year, one in the spring and one in the fall. So generally in December is early December is our fall concert, and in May, after Mother's Day, is our spring concert. So next May, probably the 18th or the 19th, we're still finalizing the date, we will have a concert that is tentatively titled Day in the Life of American Song, celebrating Aaron Copland, Leonard Bernstein, and others of that ilk of modern American song. So that will be fantastic. So we urge you to join us. We urge you to come and support us online. You can check out our website at westchesterchorale.org. And in fact, we just had a new YouTube snippet uploaded. We performed the Valpensiero chorus at the JCC in Scarsdale a couple of weeks ago, and we got a wonderful recording out of that. So please visit us online, check that out, and we have some other snippets there as well. And if you, as I said, if you want to join us Sing, Mady is right there. If you want to see what we've got online and what our concert schedule is like and learn a little bit more about us, we're at westchesterchorale.org. So thank you very much for coming. Get the word out. Tell people we're here. Come to our concerts on December 10th. Come to the Messiah Sing on December 16th. And keep May next year in mind. Thank you very much.
Do we have any questions for any of our panelists? Janet.
Well, I know that sort of the summit and everyone who lives in Larchmont Mamaroneck, the well-being of our businesses and our main streets. And so my guess is that your existence helps people go to the restaurants when you, Mark mentioned going to the earlier performance so you can have dinner afterwards. So Ben, can you just comment on how you benefit on restaurants and other businesses?
Great.
Well, let me start on that because we actually were very attentive to that. Some years ago, we had our concerts were a little bit later, especially the spring concert. We moved that to like 6 or 7 p.m. But what we had complaints back from not only choristers but the local merchants who were advertising in our program booklet that was too late because people couldn't go out to dinner afterwards and people wanted to. They made it a whole evening. So now our concerts are all at 4 p.m. And we frequently have in our program booklet advertisements and discount coupons and things from local restaurants and merchants. So we encourage people to, come to our concerts at 4 and then make a whole evening of it and go to, patronize local restaurants. In fact, in my announcements, I generally, tell people to patronize local and to list a few of our sponsors and local merchants. So we're very aware of that, and we want to really be a part of that and draw people into the local community after the concert. Anybody else want to add to that? Mark?
My sense is from attending shows that restaurants on the avenue, like it's Clear Piccolo Molino, Barley's, Provençal, are very focused on moving people in and out of there between 6 and 8 o'clock or 6 and 7:30 on Wednesdays, and we know we're filling the. I was in Provençal last week, and literally at 20 of 8, half the restaurant or more got up. So we know we're having the benefit. I'd like to see us create more formal partnerships. We used to have formal partnerships with some of the restaurants. Our only one now that is semi-formal is Provençal, who've been wonderful to us and often have a drink or some discount or something. But we're very aware of what we're doing, and we are very grateful when the restaurants offer something up to the community that encourages them to at least think of the Emelin if they don't already have a ticket. So business partnerships are something we'd like to do more of. I think economically, to be truthful about it, when I speak to the restaurants about it, they sort of go, well, why should we do much? Because we're already getting... so I'll show up and say, hey, how about we'll put your thing out in the lobby and put our poster up, but the reality is they're getting it. So our challenge now is to figure out, since we're a nonprofit, it's not like we're going to open a competing restaurant, but is to how to generate sort of a mutuality there and expand it. Thanks.
Standing. This season and last, we've shared with our community audience performers coming from Germany, France, Cuba, Chile, Montreal, Toronto, Quebec City, and all across the U.S. And they all go to eat when they're here. But they also found what they describe as the best beer distributor in the world. But we schedule our programs 4 p.m. on Sunday, and part of the intention of that is that everyone hits the Mamaroneck Avenue directly after. But we would love to see more opportunity to work with local businesses on getting our mission statement out and to learn more about how we can benefit each other.
I have to stand. I'm too short to sit. But, New Rochelle Opera has collaborated in the 33 years with a few restaurants, local restaurants, where we would work with them in giving them the audience discounted prices for the meal, and then come and join us at the opera. So the matinee that we do is always on a Sunday. For most people who like to come to see us and then go to have dinner. But the other performances, which is 3 other performances, are in the evening, and they're at 8. So it gives people enough time to go to a local restaurant. We try to help the ones especially around the Ursuline School, because we say it's right there. There are quite a few restaurants there that they can eat at. So we do collaborate with some of the restaurants, and it does encourage us to promote the opera and work with the community. Okay, sure.
As a newcomer to your community, I would like to say also that we find the law enforcement of traffic on Mamaroneck Avenue quite intense.
I'm not sure what that meant, but nor am I going to go there. There are more questions.
I don't have a question. I just want to say thank you as a person in the, as you mentioned before, older person in the community who doesn't want to go into the city at night if I can help it. I particularly thank the Emelin classical series, which is really extraordinary, and so thank you for doing that. It makes it life easy. And thanks to Tony and his group because it's been wonderful. Thanks.
Just to repeat, that was a very big thank you.
Hi, I want to commend all of you and all of your institutions for bringing such wonderful programming to us. I've done the film club, and it is one of the most intellectually exciting enterprises I've ever been exposed to, so it's great. I am sure that everybody in Larchmont and the Mamaroneck are concerned about downtowns doing well and such, and I'm sure that everyone in Larchmont and the Mamaroneck are also concerned with diversity and with making sure that our less privileged neighbors are having an opportunity to be exposed to the arts, which of course is so elevating and so inspiring and hope-giving, and such an escape from difficulties. And I know the Emelin has certainly to the Mamaroneck Avenue School and other places for discounts and lots of children's programs. But I would like to hear that there is more both outreach into different communities to invite people in, as well as discounts so that people have the ability to communicate, and even perhaps a more expansive view of integrating the arts into our communities. You know, maybe every kid needs to go home with a flyer with a backpack about some event that's especially designed for this. Or people need to come into the schools and talk about what's available, offer more programming for the arts in the schools, and then give a talk afterwards or an announcement that we have these 3 performances. There are flyers in the back that are all being given at a significant discount, but various and creative ways to integrate the whole community. And by extension, have less white performances. You know, I mean, I look at the Emelin, and there's no whiter industry than bluegrass music, and there's no hip-hop. I know there's some things that are interesting, and sometimes you bring stuff from Broadway, but I do think that it would be nice to find ways, even if you're doing a chorale series, to have one, you know, even if it's gospel or you know, Hispanic music. I know they did something at St. Thomas, but that's my lead and my question.
Sure.
Our first program last season was a performance of the Juno Award. In Canada, the Junos are the Grammys, and my last CD on Atma won the Juno Prize for Best Classical Disc in 2016, and we brought that entire program to St. Thomas, celebrating particularly for this community the Hispanic heritage, which is only in response to say we really are making an effort to change that perception, and I know the other organizations represented here do as well. I would like to say that we follow the example of our rector, by offering free admission to anyone who approaches this series unable to pay the ticket price. And that's our policy. We hope to continue it. Generous parishioners are making that possible, and that's how we're trying to address the issues you're concerned with.
I would just like to say that when we started New Rochelle Opera, it was all given lectures in schools. I started with the parochial school in Eastchester, the Immaculate Conception. My friend was a music teacher. She was taking the children to see an opera. In those days, no super titles were there. I explained the story of Rigoletto, and the children loved it. They even wrote a composition on it. So then I went around to all the schools in New Rochelle and Bedford. I was just telling Nina this morning that a young man was only in the 5th grade. I said to the teacher, would you like us to use your students, and we'll do scenes from La Boheme? And she said, surely. So the music teacher taught the children the chorus from La Boheme, came, and I brought some costuming, but this one little boy came already dressed for the production. His mother must have told him what the costume was. And when I said to him, you're dressed like your children from La Boheme. He says, I want to be an opera star. So that gave me even more encouragement to want to give these more lectures to the school. So I have been around. I even went to the Mamaroneck French school to see if I could get children to be in our Carmen 2 years ago. I tried to go to different schools to see if children would like to participate, working through the music teachers. So I have tried. This is how we started, actually, was giving the lecture. In fact, the children, I went and attended with the children at the Metropolitan Opera, and they knew every aspect, because that was the first piece I ever did in opera. I played the page in Rigoletto. And when the page came out, the children, oh, Mrs. Coppola, that was your poem. So they got excited. They got involved. And I try to do operas where there are children's choruses, and the children really enjoy it. I'm getting my 2 great-grands this year in it, but I'm just saying, they do enjoy it. And we do try to do what you have mentioned, so I had to bring that up. Thank you.
You know, diversity is a tough topic, right? And it means a lot of things. We have a board. I'm sort of thinking around the room. Virtually everybody on that board is involved in something else in the community, whether it's at Home on the Sound or CRC or Holocaust and Human Rights, or all sorts of organizations. I think, like a lot of organizations, it's easy to talk the talk. It's really tough to do. I mean, I don't see a great deal of, this is a personal comment, not as an Emelin. I don't see great assimilation in this community, which personally I'd love to see. We have attempted to do it in terms of, I don't know if you've been to the Emelin a lot recently, but if you come to our dance performances, there you'll see dancers of color. You'll see C.J. Chenier. You'll see Billy Porter last year. So there's no, we are keen to engage performers of anything you would think of as diverse, but we want to serve the community and have people come and enjoy it. So it's tricky. So I'll give you an example that Andrea is very familiar with. We worked for a year and a half, this is the shame, on mounting a very active film program for the Latino Hispanic community. And we're all set to go. It was literally launch month. And I think wisely, it happened to be at the peak of the ICE raids around this community, over in Portchester in particular. And 2 years of work was canceled in one afternoon because fears of aggregating people. Now, that's an extreme example of issue in diversity. But we focused a lot on the age diversity, as the comment was made. We've organized shows and discounts around our older citizens who can see affordable world-class performances right here with a bus ride or a Uber ride or however. But I think assimilation and diversity are tough things. We'll see with our Sound of Music, which is going to be specifically marketed, the 12 o'clock show to, let's say, a diverse community, what type of reaction we get. That won't stop us if we get a light reaction, but we're doing the best we can, and we're trying, and we view it as central to our mission. Thanks.
One of the questions that came up at the board meetings when we were discussing this program is that do local amateur groups, do people who love music, who aren't outstanding but are fairly competent and nobody ever heard of, they don't seem to have a lot of venues where they get exposure. And I've been, I've been to a couple of performances at St. Thomas. Occasionally I go to the Emelin. I have to admit, New Rochelle is just too far for me to drive. But I'm wondering if, in your imagination, there are ways that people who are less than recognition, less than outstanding, but very much part of the local scene can find places to perform. We have lots of art galleries to do that, but music's a little harder.
Our choir is 80% avocational singers, and more are always welcome.
Our chorus is all people from all localities in Westchester County, and they use our company to sing opera because there's only one other opera company in Westchester County, which is up further. So we give them the opportunity. In this locale, we have many from Mamaroneck, Larchmont, Bedford, Yorktown. They all come down and they want to be part of New Rochelle Opera, and we give them that opportunity.
This morning we could only identify and focus on the performing arts in the community. There are lots and lots of arts programs in the community that are not represented here. We've got, is it called the Sandbox Theater, I think? The Sandbox Theater incorporates a lot of, involves a lot of students and actually adults too in some very interesting productions. I think all the houses of worship have choirs, orchestras, small groups, large groups that involve many of these people that we're talking about, amateurs that are able to get together. Certainly the schools, the high school, for example, is really renowned for its jazz band and its orchestra. There are lots of other things that are not on this radar screen, but perhaps another time we can focus on the many other kinds of activities and endeavors that include a lot of these other people, both adults and children in the community. We could only do so much today. I'm so delighted that we had such a great representation this morning, because many times people don't know about the high quality things that are all around us, available, affordable, and accessible in the community. So I want to thank them. I also, before we go, I have to say that one of our regular members, one of our regular attendees this morning is being honored. Iris Freed, stand up, Iris. Iris is being honored as the Senior Volunteer of the Year by Westchester County at a luncheon. Yes. We have a remarkable group that comes here regularly and is involved so very much in the community. I also want to say that our next meeting is not a regular meeting, regular scheduled meeting. It's on December 19th, and Dr. Schaap is going to talk about enrollment and space, an issue that's been very hot in the community, and I urge you all to attend that too. Do we have time for the tidbits now, Jeff? No? Because we do have a few minutes. We wanted to hold off to make sure we got all the performance and other presentations. Okay, we'll hold that off for the next one. I'm sorry, is there any, another question? Oh, George. Congratulations to George Latimer. I didn't see you. I'm sorry, George.
I enjoyed coming. I intend to continue to come, but I just want to thank everybody, and I look forward to the next 4 years.
Great. Thank you very much. I'm sorry. Nina, you want to thank everybody now?
Well, I just want to thank all of our panelists. I think we're really lucky. I think you do a tremendous service for the community. I hope more people will learn about you now, and I thank you for coming and presenting to us. Thanks so much. And thank you for that wonderful aria. That was really cool.